Welcome back, everybody. I know what time is it. It's B time. Once again, we got another great podcast going on here. Um, for a lot of you guys who don't know and didn't start off at the beginning of flag football here in the state of Michigan with us, this person, he's the grandfather of it. He's the one that started everything for us, helped us build flag football here in the state of Michigan, and it's great to welcome him. Johnny Lee from Fresno, California. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? How are you doing, B?
I'm doing fantastic, bro.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like every time I see you now, man, it's like the more hair you lose, bro.
I know, man. It's a never-ending story, man.
Anyways, man, how's life, man? How's Fresno, California, man?
It's good, man. Uh, the sport itself is flag football is kind of dying out here, but I mean, I'm trying my best to bring it back. We've done a couple of events. We've done 6-on-6, so we're trying to do some kind of hybrid out here. We're trying to bring it alive for the youth. So it's going good. It's slow but steady.
Okay. Well, I gotta have to ask you this: how's the weather over there, man? Because let me tell you, over here, man, it is bipolar over here,
Hmm.
and we had rain in the morning, snow in the afternoon, and it's sunny now.
Man.
So I hope you guys ain't getting that kind of weather over here, over there.
No, it's not that bipolar for us. It's been nice and steady. It's been hot actually. Our summer has already started.
Oh man, I'll
Yeah.
die. I'll die to have that kind of weather.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, let's get this started, man. Hey, so a lot of you guys who don't know, Johnny Lee, he's the grandfather of Scorpions. He's the grandfather of starting flag football here. Um, he was here in 2005. I want to say 2005, summer 2005, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 2005.
So Johnny came here in 2005, and he was bored as heck. He was working at Discount Tire with us, and he didn't want to play soccer, though he did play soccer with us.
Yeah.
And you went to Minnesota to play soccer with us. Um, but came fall, he was here for how long was you here for, anyways?
It was like
3 months,
months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So Johnny was like, "Hey man, let's start a flag football league here or tournament." And I'm like, "What?
Hmm.
Flag football? Nobody plays flag football. I mean, I played football in high school, but not flag football." But yeah, you know, um, Johnny helped us start flag football here in the state of Michigan in 2005. And the first tournament was in Pontiac New Year. Um, and if it wasn't for Johnny and Tony, his brother-in-law, we would have never got this flag football started here in the state of Michigan. But I want to say thank you to you, Johnny. That's why I wanted to bring you on here because, I think if it wasn't for you, uh, we wouldn't have flag football here. Now,
Yeah.
unfortunately, of course, flag football has died here. And of course, we're the only team here left. East Coast Scorpions is the only team here left,
Hmm.
but we're kind of more traveling now. But yeah, I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you, and
Yeah, man.
I think you didn't get enough, enough props for that, and I want to give you props. What are we
Thank you.
talking about? 17 years down the road here. 17
Oh
years.
yeah, man. Yeah. Long time.
Well, take it back, man. Let's take it back, man. When you first
Yeah.
got here, you first arrived here, man. What were some of your thoughts before you said, "Hey, B, let's try to get flag football, man"? Take that back from me.
Well, it goes back to when you said I tried playing soccer with you guys, and I found out that I wasn't very good. And I knew that because you tried your best to be as nice as possible to me, but I couldn't get anything
What are
down.
you talking about,
So
man? I am a nice guy.
and so I figured, you know what? Instead of me trying to get good at something I'll never be good at, how about we bring something I am good at? And so that's why when I asked my brother-in-law Tony, I said, "Hey man, who's in charge of you guys' sports for you guys' events, and he just said, happens to be you, B. I was just like, oh shoot,
Yeah.
hit him up. Let's see what we can do. And that's when we contacted you, and you just said, come to our board meeting and we'll talk about it.
Yep.
And then, I mean, I went in there expecting the emojis to say no, but sure enough, they say yes to us. And then, I mean, we went in there. I think me and you were expecting like 4 teams probably, and we ended up having 10 teams sign up that very first event. That was crazy.
It was a very good turnout. Very, very good
Yeah,
turnout.
yeah,
It wasn't the most organized tournament, of course, being such a new sport to the state of Michigan. The very
yeah,
first one, of course, we all know we had some kinks, right? It
yeah,
wasn't perfect, it wasn't perfect. I remember we had a scoreboard, a bootlegger scoreboard that we it was on a mop stick or something like that. And one of our players, one of our future players, was young during that time. He was the one holding it up, you know.
yeah,
And of course, we had to get an OG to come ref our games.
yeah,
And of course, nobody knew how to ref a game, right? So everybody was
yeah,
just thrown in there. So, but it was a great experience. It was fun. Um, I really enjoyed it. You taught us a lot. I learned a lot from you. Um,
yeah.
and it gave us a bright future here, man. It really did for a very long time. I think for a good 15 years, we had a really good turnout. Ever since you left.
Yeah. Uh, It was fun, man. You guys blew it up. You guys did very well. All the other teams that played, the ones that did stick around, they built a very good team. They started recruiting a lot of good players. The couple times that I came back to play with you guys, it was just amazing to see the transition of just a matter of what 3, 4, 5 years,
Yeah.
how competitive it got
Oh yeah.
just in that time span.
Yeah. It was definitely competitive. It was a lot of fun. We were young back then. We were all in our mid 20s, but we was able to bring out some of the older guys who had experience actually playing in Wisconsin and all that kind of stuff. So we was able to get them out, and it was pretty fun playing against some older guys who had experience.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so you help us start flag football, and then you end up moving back to California. And
Yeah.
what's up with that?
Well, I came out there and the weather wasn't just for me, man. It was just too damn cold or too damn humid. I couldn't handle it. And then also I got married, so that's why I came back. Um, but I just carried on that motivation that I had from there, and we got everything popping over here too the same year. And so flag football was dead out here, just as it was not even existent out there. And so when I came back out here, I did the same thing. I replicated everything we did up there, and so that I think it was during the New Year's or one of those during that time, we went in through a tournament at Calwa. We had 10 teams show up, Sandstorm. I think there was Rebels or Lights Out at the time. So we had a lot of teams that the older teams come out, and it just blew back up, and it just got crazy from there for us too. So we had a good 10, 15-year run also for the sports
Okay.
before it died out again.
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't want to go get too ahead of myself, but yeah, it's for us. It's been died down a couple years before the pandemic started.
Yeah,
I mean, we went from having 8 to 10 teams to literally 3 teams right before the pandemic started. If it wasn't
yeah,
for Wisconsin coming here on our last tournament before the pandemic started, we would
yeah,
only have 3 teams here. So, but yeah, so you end up moving back to California, and you were supposed to be here for us to play in the Detroit tournament right after the
yeah,
Pontiac New Year on 8 Mile. But you
yeah.
end up leaving us.
I know.
You end up leaving us, and we were kind of stranded. It wasn't your fault. You got married, and of course you had to go back to California and to do the whole traditional thing. Yeah, and we was left behind. I think Tony ended up taking quarterback position, I believe. And
It was either Tony or Bruce. It was one of them.
you know what? You're right. It was one of those guys. I want to say it was probably Tony. I want to say it was probably Tony that took over. And yeah, we end up going into the finals against Rough Rider, and didn't turn out too well for us during the finals. And yeah, I don't even remember if they won or we won because there was a little conflict going on, and
Yeah.
everybody was so young and new to the game that I don't think we finished that championship game at all. So, but life goes on after that tournament, and
Yeah.
moving forward, we went down to Utica and Fraser, city called Fraser, and that was probably a couple years, and we brought you back. We brought
Yeah.
you back to come play quarterback for us, you and your brother Kennedy.
Yeah.
And anything that you remember from that tournament, because we ended up playing Rough Riders in the finals.
Yeah. I remember that tournament, man. It was so fun. It was just so cool to see all these teams that came out of nowhere and they're just like building and I'm just like, damn, where the hell all these big ass Hmong kids come from? Because I ain't seen none of them when I was there. I was
Right,
like,
right.
you were the biggest boy we had.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool. I remember we had a thriller in the semifinals versus Devil Dogs. And that was a scary, scary game versus those guys. And then we ended up winning that game with I remember I got the interception to end that game.
Yes,
And
yes.
and then we were just so gassed out when we got to that finals versus Rough Rider, man. We were like gassed out, all of us.
Yeah.
And I think if there was light, it would have been a better game, but we had to play in the dark. And you know how it goes. When it's in the dark, it's 50-50. It's whoever's the luckiest.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. I remember like that, like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, it was so dark out there, and you know, it came down to whoever had the ball
Yeah.
and whoever was going to cross that finish line was going to win that game in that dark.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, like you said, if it was light out there, it may have been a different outcome, but it would have been better for both teams too at the same time.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a very emotional time because it was about 3 years into the league, to the tournaments, and you know, that would have been probably our second championship that we would have probably won. But you know, big props to Rough Riders for winning that tournament too at the same time.
Yep.
But you know, I wanted to bring you and Kenny to come and experience it because you know you started it and wanted to see. I wanted you to see the progress of what we've been doing out here. So
Yeah, man. You guys did an awesome job. Flag football was a big thing over there. I saw it, man. You had people that were dressed up in uniforms,
oh yeah,
coordinated colors, matching socks and shorts. I was like, damn, people out here went all out.
I think it was one of the best thing that happened to us here in Michigan. You know,
Yeah.
besides soccer, soccer for a very long time and still is has been the main sport here. But once we started playing football, soccer started slowly dying out. Um, it was still exciting to see soccer. Of course, I'm still a fan of soccer, but football was definitely a big sport for us because we did have, you know, a lot of young folks can relate to football, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if they don't play, I mean, they still relate to it because they watch it. You know, they watch NFL, they watch college football. So,
Yeah.
you know, to see some home teams and or just teams participating in these tournaments, it catches their eye.
Yeah,
So
man. Because it's inclusive. You can be an average player and still play. It involves all the bigger guys, it involves all the tall, short guys. I mean, everybody has a specialty, and that was what was unique about it. And I think that's what makes the Hmong community gravitate towards like football so much too, was the fact that you're all playing together as a brotherhood, and it doesn't matter what size you are. You're gonna come out there, you're gonna play, you sweat, your blood and tears, and just that love for football makes me and you brothers if we play on the same team.
yeah, absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
I always tell my guys that, and I always tell people that don't have any experience, and they're all like, you know, oh, I'm too scared. I don't want to hurt myself, and you know, getting hurt is one thing, but that takes preparation, right?
Yeah.
But you can't discriminate people from playing football because, like you said, we come in all shapes and sizes, and it contributes everybody, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I mean, you got the skinniest guy, yeah, he can play corner, he can play receiver. So you got a big guy, he can play defensive line, offense. Big guy like your brother Kennedy, he was a tight end.
Hmm.
One of the biggest tight ends, and can run. He can run routes, right? So
Yep.
it's just such a it's just a multi position that anybody can play, and
Yep.
for 15 years, we developed a lot of good teams here.
Yes.
You had Devil Dogs went back, and they was able to have two hometown teams over there. And then just in the Metro Detroit area, along with Warren, you're talking about 4 to 6 teams over there. For us, it was two for a few years, and then it went back down to just one team in Pontiac. So I mean, we had a lot of good teams here.
Yep. Hmm.
But we can never forget. I can never forget who started this whole thing. So much appreciation to you. But um, I remember you came back 3 times. You remember coming
Yeah.
back the third time to play? Well, the second time you came back, we played Rough Riders in the finals.
Yep.
The second time you came back, I had gout, so I didn't play that tournament at all. So you and your brother Kennedy was here playing. My brother Steve happened to play center
Yeah.
throughout the whole tournament, and I don't think we did too well in that tournament. I don't remember us going into the finals or anything. I think we may have lost to Infrared or somebody in the quarterfinal. I don't even know if we may even made it to the playoffs. But the biggest one that when you came back was when we had a very, very stacked team, and you and Kennedy came, and we actually played Devil Dogs in the finals.
Yeah.
You know, anything that you can remember from that tournament, because I want to refresh your memory. But if you remember, let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, man. That game was a thriller, man. It was. Those guys, those Double Dog guys, are hella good, man. They're big. They're fast. I just remember like you warning me, telling me, "Hey, man, this is a good defense. They know how to read. They do all kinds of crazy blitzes, and so it was just crazy to see all the schemes that they were throwing out there. I mean, they even did corner blitz. I mean, you don't see that in Hmong Flag Football at all.
Right,
And
right.
I remember seeing that. And so these guys are really good. They got me quite a few times, and I got a lot of respect for that team, man. They're so big and so fast and so smart and talented. Their quarterback was also really good. Um, they had a receiver that we couldn't stop, man. I forgot what his name was.
It might have been Tony. Oh no. Yeah, Tony Hurd.
Yeah, that guy,
Tony
man, we
Hurd.
couldn't stop him for nothing.
Yeah, so big shout out to Tony. Big shout out to
Yeah,
Thunder and Devil Dogs here.
yeah, man, those guys are hella good. And it came down to the wire, and we were down by like 6 points, and we threw a prayer, and we dropped it. And it was just like one of those things where we were just like, damn, but big props to Devil Dogs. They held it down, they won it, you know. We
Yeah,
went
I
home
mean
second place.
Devil Dogs was one of those teams that they didn't even start until about 3 years later. And my podcast with Thunder, they came into the tournament, and they was 3 years behind, and what motivated them was getting the ass whooping their first year playing.
Yeah.
So they had a really good run after a couple of years being together. They're able to build, they're able to build a team, a scheme, get the right personnel, and yeah, they had a really good run for a few years here. Um,
Yeah.
so again, it's one of those things where flag football brings everybody together. I think everybody misses the whole idea about flag football. Flag football is such a huge sport in our community now that I think it's very people don't, a lot of the older generation, like the OGs and stuff like that, they don't realize that football brings a lot of people together, and it
Hmm.
builds such a big relationship between everybody, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Um, because you think about this, man. We brought people that hated each other together. You know, we brought people that never talked to each other together.
Yeah,
You know, and because everybody see each other 3, 4 times a year playing the game that they really enjoy, you know, they everybody get to know each other. I mean, am I
yep,
right or wrong? You know?
yeah. Everybody respects each other, and one of the things that even I always talk about is our flag football community was so tight that you didn't ever see fights. You know,
Right,
it's
right.
there will be
Rarely.
a couple, yeah, there'll be like pushing here and there, but like for the most part, coaches would pull their players back and just be like, hey man, just get over it, go to the next play. And so you would hardly ever see any kind of like crazy stuff that would happen on the flag football field versus, other sports that we have in our community.
Right, right. I think here in Michigan, for the 15 years that I played, I've only experienced it twice.
Yeah,
I experienced it twice where it was no, I'm sorry, I take it back 3 times. 3 times in the 15-year span than what I was playing. And it only happened really quick. It wasn't even like the whole team. It was just like
yeah,
just a player here and there, kind of deal.
yeah,
And but if yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right because everybody understand the concept that you leave everything on the field, right?
yep.
You know, you
Hmm.
can get upset at the other player. I could be upset at you. You could be upset at me. But at the end of the day, when we're off that field, I mean, we're all just friends and family.
Yep.
You know, that's the great thing about it. Versus other sports, we ain't even gonna name other sports, but uh, you know,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's the one thing that I really like about flag football is the unity of
Yes.
bringing everybody together and playing the game and not be so upset at each other. Yeah, you're gonna have a couple of knuckleheads on the team. Everybody
Yep.
has a couple of knuckleheads on the team, and that's something that your captains or your coaches they have to deal with that.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's great, man. It's been great, and I know that flag football here in Michigan has died the last 4 years, but we're still trying to go, man, Johnny. And
I
what's
know.
what's your status on playing football, man? Are you officially retired? Are you coaching? I know you coached the girl team a few years back called
Yeah.
Supreme.
Yep.
Well, tell me a little bit about that, man.
So I was just playing, and at that time we were kind of Scorpions was taking like a little break, and so I came across this girl team. I saw them practicing, and I just kind of went up to them, just asked them, if they got a coach and what they're doing, and they had like, oh, actually, I hosted an event, and I had three girls teams. And so after I did that event for them, the team that lost to everyone, they didn't have a coach, and they had a lot of potential. I saw that, but they didn't have a coach. So I asked them if they were interested in a coach, and I talked to their team captain, and she said yeah. And so I went out there, and I just kind of scoped them out at first, and just kind of give them a couple of hints here and there, and then they gave me the honors. They asked me if I was willing to coach them, and I said sure thing. I did, and I took that on, and I went 100% into that, man.
Yeah.
I recruited, like they went from like 8 or 9 girls to like 20 girls at one
Oh
time,
wow. Okay. Okay.
and this consisted of girls from ages 18, 19, all the way down to like 13 years old. Like
Oh wow.
those,
Okay.
I had like some eighth graders, seventh graders on the team, some at one
Sure.
point,
Sure.
and it was so cool to see like girls, like man, when you watch girls play, they play even harder than guys do. Like
I believe it.
these girls, like when they go out there, they hit for reals. They get scratched. They'll be like, man, that bee scratched me. I'm a f her up. Like stuff like that.
Right.
And you have to like really, really calm them down, and you have to be like, hey, it's a part of the game. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get an elbow to the face sometimes. You're gonna get scratched here and there, but just go and make a play and just let it go, because that's part of the game. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
And so as you start seeing these girls build their teammanship and sportsmanship, and you watch them grow, and you see that, man, these girls, when you teach them plays, they can actually pick it up and they can learn it, and you can call it by the play and they'll know the play. It's just these girls proved me so much that I love that I got to coach them for, I think it was 2 or 3 years, and it was so fun, man. It was just so hard because the girls flag football out here was so like inconsistent
Hmm.
that it was just my team and my friend Zong's team, because his team, he coached that mafia team, which they're like a really good team, and they went up to Minnesota J4th, and I think they came in third or second place. I think, or they must have lost in the semifinals or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
So really good team, man. It's just exciting to see these
Was
girls.
that so? Did that time frame last you what 2 years for girls?
Yeah, it was around 2 3 years at the most, I think. And then we
Okay.
tried to bring it back, but then the girls were just once all my main core girls graduated from high school, then they all went and did their life, and then I just lost all of them.
I mean, yeah, big props to them, man. If they're watching
Yeah,
this, big props to Supreme. I know
yeah,
it's tough for a lot of these girls because we I don't want to get too deep into it, but a lot of these girls, of course, we understand their process and they go through so much and stuff like that. I don't know about much girls in Minnesota, Wisconsin. When I do get a chance to watch them, I know a lot of the girls they continue to play even after being married, college,
hmm,
and all that kind of stuff. And it's a little different than guys, right? Because guys, we get married with kids, and we can still kind of play for a few more years afterwards. Some play longer than that. Some plays a little less than that. But for women, it's a little different. I just feel like they have a little bit different of priority that they take and stuff like that. But yeah, it's great that you was able to commit to a team and they gave you the honor to coach them, and you got at least they got a chance and the opportunity to experience playing. And now, did
yeah.
you guys place in any of the tournaments that you hosted or anything?
We, I think the whole time we were there, we played. With the best we got was second place.
Okay.
Like, yeah, out of all the girl teams that came out, every time we went to the tournaments that I was able to get them to go to, I mean, we were the smallest and the youngest team, so it
Yeah.
was bound. It was like kind of bound to happen, and we didn't have like, like I wasn't able to get like tremendous athletes, and that's why I commend these girls so much. It's because these are just regular schoolgirls, regular girls that ain't never played or picked up a ball before, and they're willing to come out and learn.
Right.
And I had a real, I mean, these are really green girls that came out to play for me, and for me to just be able to get what I was able to get out of them, I was already happy and proud enough that they were willing to dedicate their time to come and learn and do what they could.
I feel like girls are better listeners, man.
Yeah, yeah,
They're better listeners. They pick up quick, like you said. Versus guys, we can have guys, come out there and slack off, and you just hate telling them.
yeah. Hmm.
I feel like girls have a lot more respect. I haven't really coached. You know what? I take that back. When we first, I think it was probably right after when we first started flag football here. Of course, my sister-in-law and her friends they wanted to start a girls flag football team and go out of state and play. Of course, we had a few practices. We had a good turnout, maybe 7, 8 girls went out there, throw a ball around, show them a little bit here and there what to do, what positions is available, and what they need to do. And but it didn't turn out. We it's so funny. We wrote down all these names because all these girls really committed on paper, and it turned out to be like 20 girls.
Damn.
But we only, I think we had like 3 total practice before it came crashing down. But only like 8, maybe 8, 9 at the most. And I thought it was really gonna happen, but it didn't happen because the girls they just couldn't commit enough. I think if we had tournament here in Michigan during that time, maybe they would probably look more into it, but we didn't. It was just trying to kind of get a team together so they can go out of state and play. But I'm just glad that I was able to be a part of it while it lasted. But you know, but I get it, man, because those girls when I was coaching them, those 3 practices, man, they listened very well. I mean, when you're
Yeah,
talking to them, I mean, their heads up, looking at you like, okay, All right.
They truly give you that coach respect.
Right.
They
Right.
truly do.
Well, for one, they never played a sport, right? So
Yeah,
they're really dedicated to learning the game. You know.
yeah,
So they give you all that respect and they give you that room to show them. You know.
yeah,
And so that's a great thing too, man. But yeah, let's I want to talk about 2008, man. 2008, we went into Minnesota to play football
yeah,
on July 4th, and we decided to do something that I'm not sure if any other team have done it before.
yeah,
Of course, you had your Fresno Scorpions, and we had our Michigan Scorpions, and we've never played together before.
yeah.
And we took the best guys from our team, and you brought the best guys from your team, and we met up in July 4th, and I think it was 2008, 2009, and we decided to come together and play, man. But I want to hear your side of the experience that we got when we went there.
Well, it was actually I think 2006 and 2007
Okay, okay,
or 7 or 8,
sure.
and it was our first time getting a taste. Well, actually, my first taste, and the reason why I made us push so hard for that was because when we went to J4 the year before as Broncos,
You play
and I
soccer.
got yeah, and then I got your brother Chewy allowed me to play with them for the bomb squad,
Oh yeah,
and
oh yeah,
just that little bit of taste of it made me so hungry for it that that's why we fought so hard to go the next year or two. And going up there with our own team, man, it was probably one of the biggest accomplishments that I think we have been able to do. And you're right, I don't think many teams have been able to pull off what we were able to do, and especially in that short time frame that we were able to do it in. And it was really fun. It was exciting to see. It was great to see all the guys that we recruited and then all the new guys you were able to get on board. And then it was cool to see our talent and your talent mesh together. And we had some pretty good games up there when we were up there. I mean, it was bound to happen. We were going to have hiccups here and there, but the overall experience was really, really good. And I loved it so much that I fought so hard to build Scorpions up. It took me almost 10 years to finally get my team back up there.
yeah.
And we went back in 2016 and in 2019. And just the young guys that I have that we were able to get up there to experience it and then to go back and do what we were able to do. I mean, it's unheard of, man. It's a really, really different atmosphere out there. Only because it's not that it's different. It's just they have they have the they have that platform. When you see 30 teams,
Oh yeah,
you're just like, God dang, that's a lot of teams to see
oh yeah,
around. You know, you're used to only seeing at the most 10, and when you see 30, it's just like, whew, that is just, and it's from all around the world.
oh yeah.
You know, you're just like, wow.
I mean, July. We all know July 4th is one of the biggest event of the year.
Yeah,
Anybody who goes there, they look forward to that. Whether you go
yeah,
there as a spectator, whether you go there just to be somebody who wants to walk around, try food out, or go shopping, or playing sports, everybody look forward to it. Um, they get hundreds and thousands of people during that event every year. Of course, minus the pandemic, but I mean, it's a great place to be. It's a great atmosphere. You have such a big football fan base over there, and you think that soccer has a big fan base, but we also have it in football too. Uh, you watch the final. I've been there so many times to watch the finals, and people just pack the football field. I mean,
yeah,
and you don't even get to sit where the soccer people sit, where they can actually sit on the hill and watch the game. I
yeah,
mean, there's been a few times where we had to stand and watch the games, and it's a great experience, man. I remember us playing in July 4th, and during that year, like you said, 2007, 2008. It was my second time too, because that year when you played with my brother-in-law Chewy, you was a wide receiver.
yeah,
Um, my brother-in-law Chewy also asked me to play because we got eliminated from soccer, so it was
yeah,
my first time playing as well. I didn't know what to expect. Now I played high school football, so I didn't know what to expect. Just watching it, I think I went blind because I didn't even get a chance to really focus and watch some of these games. He was just like, "Hey, play," and I wore soccer shoes playing D tackle, you know, so
Yeah,
that wasn't the best comfortable shoes trying to play D tackle with a pair of soccer shoes on. But yeah, I mean these guys they was going hard, man. I remember us playing against ex cons. We played against Red Rum, and of course I don't remember if we beat ex cons with Bomb Squad, but no, I take that back. I only remember playing against ex cons. I don't know if I played any other games with them, but yeah, when I first got hit by one of their fullbacks, I remember because I was playing nose tackle, and the guy came and just hit me. I'm just like, whoa, okay, so this is how the game it really is.
yeah.
And of course, the very next year we played Red Rum, we played I can't even remember the second team that we played, but then we end up losing to Lights Out in the elimination round.
Yep.
That was my first time playing against Lights Out, and I didn't realize how good they was.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it was fun, man. It was fun playing with the West Coast guys. Fortunately, of course, all of our guys are retired. Um, you were one of the very last veterans to retire. Uh, and on the Scorpion team for Fresno, I was the very last one to retire over here, but I'm still
Yeah.
coaching. Are you officially retired? Are you still coaching the team, or what's the future for Scorpions there?
I'm officially retired, man. I I love the game, and I love seeing it, but I'm at the stage now where um, the business that I'm building now is to build that platform for the future, because us playing for how long we played, even though the talent elevated, the game itself, the platform, the environment, it never changed. We never had 100% full support of the organizations that threw these events for us.
Right,
They knew and they understood that flag football brought a lot of people, but they didn't truly invest into the game,
right,
where we would get better referees, or we would get better equipment, better time management, better sports coordinators, people who actually understood the game. And so because of this lack of investment, me playing for 15 plus years and never seeing anything change, that's why I decided to hang up the cleats, because instead of me trying to keep playing, even though I I thought I probably could still play, but I'm just like, instead of playing, why don't I build it so that our future can play? Because my oldest son, he just turned 13, and there is literally no flag football community right now. So
right.
there's nothing for these kids to jump into and play. The biggest and hottest sport right now is only volleyball.
Hmm.
Uh, but volleyball consists of only 6 players on the field at one
Right,
time,
right,
and you have to be extreme talented kids to play this sport. Whereas flag football, you can be the bottom of the crop, the greenest guy, and you can still play. And so I really want to build that. I mean, I want to get to the point where we see little 8, 9, 10 year olds playing little 5-man, 5-on-5, just so that they can start building these talent and this repertoire at the younger age, so that when they get to the high school level and then adult level after that, at least there's a building stage for that. Because our home community right now, man, like most of us, we don't truly start playing flag football until we're 18, 19 years old, right? Because most
right.
of us, if we didn't play Hmong Flag Football, we didn't know about it, and we played high school football. But it's a totally different game. It ain't the same.
Right, right.
And
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's like I say, I played high school football. I didn't have a great career in high school. I only played I played my junior year. I didn't get much playing time. My
Hmm.
experience came from practice. That's where
Yeah.
mine came from. Because I played against the juniors and seniors, and I didn't get much playing time because playing at a young age, you're still learning the knowledge of the game.
Yep.
So my senior year, of course, when I thought that I was going to get some PT, and I tore my Achilles. So that pretty much ended my season right there.
Yeah.
And but just converting over to flag football was totally different, because you don't get to do half of the things that you learn in tackle football.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's a great thing that what you guys are doing, man. I feel like I think we're kind of in the process over here too with the an organization that I'm going to be part of pretty soon, and we're gonna start creating things for the community so that people can be more involved. And even though the generation right now, as we speak, may have kind of fell off the edge and don't want to play, but we're hoping that the next generation that comes up, we can build that for them. And I'm sure that's what you guys are trying to do over there too, as well.
Yep. We're definitely trying to do that. I'm trying to reach out to some of the ex players that are veterans and trying to see if we can get some of them to come out and either help ref or help coach or do something just so we can build up these new generations. Because as of right now, this new generation, this new youth that are going to start playing, they're the kids of us now. They're
Yep.
our kids now,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
And and so now we don't have the excuse because during our time, we had that battle of our parents didn't support us, right? Our parents didn't want to give us the
Absolutely.
opportunity. And now it's our time. So are we going to follow that same track and have our kids use the same excuse, or are we going to open that platform for them so that they have no excuse?
Yeah, that's a great point, man. That's a great point because our parents, for us, our parents, right? Our parents are so old fashioned. They There's nothing wrong with telling your kids that education is more important. Education is very important. That's the number one key.
Yep.
But at the same time, what they don't realize is if your kids participates in sports or they do some kind of curricular activity after school, it keeps them very occupied. It keeps them educated, not just to school, but in other sports. They get to, one thing I learned from school going to college is sports doesn't just, you just don't play sports. You're out there interacting with other people. You're learning about other
Yeah.
people. You're learning about, you're learning about the next person next to you, and you're having a good time. And as these kids grow up, you know, they become better people, you know,
Yep.
and this doesn't even have to relate to football. It's just
Oh
in
yeah.
general in life.
Yep.
So these are some of the things that, like you said, we can't use that as an excuse. Like we can't do it no more. We can do it now. We can
Yep.
build that foundation where we'll support our kids. Whether it's for our organization or it's recreational sports. We have to support our young generation now. Our kids.
Yep.
So
We have to build it for them because you know we started our organization Rise, and sports is one of the biggest pillar in that organization. And sports builds character. It helps these kids. Like you think about it, right? If you playing the center position, you have to study your opponent. You have to see how he plays. You have to adjust your game. And it's like these kind of things, like you don't understand that helps you and builds you for the future. But you can take that to a job now. Now you have a skill set that
hmm
you know how to
yep.
study people. You can understand body language, and so like a lot of the things that we are trying to do is just make sure that we build them from the youth. We have to, so that when they get to the high school level, they have a chance. Because the biggest story I keep hearing every time I talk to these youth is that the reason why they don't play for recreation clubs is because they're on the bench. Their parents can pay $300, but guess what? They're riding the bench. It's not fun for them.
Right.
You can go play for high school, but same problem. You're still riding the, unless you're super, super talented, you're on the bench. They'll play a 6'5", white guy over a 5'6" Hmong guy all day,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we have to build this platform for our Hmong communities so that our Hmong athletes, they learn to build them themselves up, because like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to educate our student athletes that you may not be the best in academics, and that's something we have to teach our parents. Us, well, our parents didn't know that, but now we know that we can't fall to that same hole. Whereas like our kids right now have the opportunity to build up on their athletic side, and you can still, even if you don't go professional, if you can get a college degree in soccer, right, or football, whatever, volleyball, whatever sport you want to play in, and you can get a degree out of it, why not?
Oh
And
yeah.
that's something that we have to try to get our kids to understand. And if you become a player, but you can't go pro, guess what? You can still use those skills to become a coach now, and you can still coach at the higher level.
Oh yeah.
And those are the things that our youth needs to start learning, because that's something that there's a couple of our Hmong people our age, right, that have broken through that barrier, but there's very few,
Oh,
very,
very,
very
very
few.
few. Very few.
And it's going to stay that way unless we change it. And so that's one of the things that Rise is trying to do, is we have to get everyone, our parents, our peers right now, the parents that are in their 30s and 40s and 50s right now, who has kids in the teenage years right now. We have to get to those parents right now and get them to support these kids, because even our kids right now, I'm telling you, some of these high school events that I've hosted, and I've done it for free. I've done like 3 volleyball events for free already for high school kids. You know what their number one problem is? I don't have a ride.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they still have the same problem. It's the fact that it's not that the parents are too busy. The parents are just not making time for the kids.
No.
That's the main thing. Because if we valued our kids' time and what their interests are, and that's something I had to learn myself too. We will make, because I think back to when we play flag football, right? If we knew we had a game that day or a practice that day, what do we do? We made sure we took care of everything we had to make
Oh yeah.
sure we got there on time
Oh yeah.
and we get it going, right?
Yeah. We
And
make
so
sure we did our chores before we hurry up and left the house.
exactly. And so that's why, like, for me, I feel like, like with these kids these days, like our parents, we're just not prioritizing our kids' talent or their hobbies or their interests. And that's something we have to find a way to tap into, because, and I understand the parents are busy, because nowadays we understand both parents are working, right? It takes two incomes to make a living nowadays. But if we don't start getting these kids to come out and play at the youth age, it's going to be just like us, where they don't play until they're 18, 19, and then we're always going to be behind.
Yeah, it kind of makes you go backwards a little bit,
Yeah.
um because we don't have anything to provide for them, right? Like,
Yep.
I'll use my city as an example. When I grew up here in Pontiac, we didn't have nothing to look forward to every day, right?
Yep.
I every literally this is my schedule every day after I left school. I came home, I ate, and I just went and mess around with my friends around the neighborhood. That was
Hmm.
it. And then I don't come back home until like 9 o'clock. Um, and then sometimes I even did bad things. I did bad things, and I wasn't even on a good track. But when you do something for the community, and that's where I decided to take that leadership and that possession to create something for these kids, so they have something to look forward to when they get
Yep.
out of school or something like that. And if these kids have nothing to look forward to when they get out of school, or a long day of school, right? They just go out and do whatever. It could be a good thing, and also it could be a bad thing, right?
Yep.
So by creating something like this for the community, they have something to look forward to. They get a chance to go see their friends. Um, our parents back in the days, they wouldn't even let us go out on the street to hang out with our cousin or our friends and stuff like that. But today, our generation will be able to do that. We trust the system, we trust the people, and we
Yep.
have to allow that, because I'd rather have my kid playing flag football, volleyball, basketball, or doing something that involves teamwork versus them just going out and I don't know what they're doing. I don't know when they're gonna come home,
Hmm.
right?
Yep. I agree.
So that's the great thing, man. But I see that you guys started your group Rise, and you guys been doing a lot of great things. Just to kind of just give a little brief about what you guys, when you guys started this, and besides focusing on the sports aspect for the Hmong community or just the community in general, explain a little bit what Rise is all about.
Yeah, man. Rise is a community-based organization, and we focus on all the community-based matter stuff. And a lot of the things, I mean, you can just put it this way: the Rise is Rise is that thing you wish you had when you were young. That's pretty much to sum it all up, because a lot of people who have heard of Rise or who have seen Rise, they always ask us the same question: what do we do? Because they see us all over the place, right? We're doing sports, we have models, right? We have events. Like, what are we? And we like to tell everyone that we're that thing that you wish you had when you were young, because the Hmong community is lacking in so many things that any like we started off focusing on recreation and sports only, and then all these other stuff came up because you know we found out that we don't a lot of Hmong businesses, they don't know how to file paperwork to start a business. So we started doing economic development, business consulting. We found out that vendors who come out to big events, they don't know how to do their food certification. They don't know how to do all these paperwork that they need to do to be legitimate businesses. When COVID happened, so many small businesses that are Hmong people, they either underfiled or they didn't know how to file or they weren't legitimately filed. They couldn't take advantage of all these grants that were given out during the COVID time, and that's part of the thing that we're trying to change, and we're trying to get our community to see and understand that everything that we do in our community, the Hmong community itself, can truly sustain itself if we just truly support each other. Because we're big enough, we're big enough to sustain ourselves. If Hmong people just supported the Hmong businesses and they went to the Hmong stores when they needed to buy groceries or equipments or stuff, whatever it is that you need, because we have Hmong businesses that does almost everything right now. If you needed a mechanic, you go to the Hmong businesses, right?
Right.
If we just truly support each other, like how, I'm sure you guys see how the Indians do it, our community can sustain itself, and we'd have a lot of successful Hmong businesses if that were to happen.
Right.
And so Rise is trying to help make that happen. Because if I help scratch your back, I help you do your paperwork, and I don't charge you anything, the only thing I can do is hope that in return you're gonna see that I helped you. So then you either do a good deed, you help the next person, or you come back and you say, "Hey, Rise, I see that you're hosting an event. I want to be a sponsor. Hey, I noticed that you have this young flag football team. I want to sponsor their jerseys," or something like that. And that's what we're trying to build. And in order for us to be able to go and ask a business for sponsorship, they need to have finances, right? A lot of our Hmong businesses don't have the finance because they don't know how to build their business. So those are some of the things that we are trying to build and do right now. And it's going to be growing pains, because the Hmong community has been burnt so many times by so many, shady people,
Oh yeah.
that we are literally picking up all the crumbles and we're trying to put it together right now. And so we see the battles that we're up against. We see how tough it's going to be, but we have to do it because, I always tell a lot of these youth, and I tell my kids all the time that for Rise to be able to bring together 11 board members who have the same passion for all the aspects, the avenues in the Hmong community, and for us to see how tough it is to do it, right? Because right now we are literally paying to do everything we're doing. We are a self-sustained business. We don't answer to no one but ourselves.
Right.
We don't have grants. We don't have money that's coming from the government or the city to support us. Everything is through our own pockets. All of our events have been thrown out there from our own pockets, and it's because we love the community that much that we're doing it. But if Rise doesn't make it, I'm telling you, in the next in our lifetime, we will never see another group of people come together and try to put together something like Rise.
Oh yeah, and I can relate to so much about that. You know, what you guys are doing is such a great thing. I hope that people do take the opportunity to come out and see what you guys do, and you guys are so open to explaining to people what your goals are. What are you guys trying to do for the community? I think it's such a great thing. Especially when you live in the state of California and Fresno itself, and it's such a large Hmong population there, and it's so sad when you don't get enough support from your Hmong community. It's
Hmm.
such a bad just a bad thing to try to relate to, because you think that your next door neighbor come out and support you, but it's let's be real, they don't really care. They have no
Oh yeah.
interest, and
Hmm.
we all understand that. The one thing that when I first started Hmong High Hang here in Michigan with our group of friends here, we just like you guys,
Yeah.
but we started a little bit more than 11 people. We actually started off with maybe like 25, maybe 30 members, and we all had the same mindset. But and then everything's like you said, everything was out of our pocket. Events was out of our pockets and stuff like that. Um, and we started gaining support from the young generation, but we
Yeah.
didn't gain much support from the older generation.
Yeah.
And that's what was saddening me, because you think that your son is playing in our basketball tournament and you come out and support him, but they don't come out. They
Yeah.
care less. You know,
Hmm.
very few parents. I see very few parents out there. The ones that supports their kids are the ones that do come out. But I get it, and I hope that you guys are be able to reach that goal and be able to establish what you guys been wanting to do for many years. I think you guys have a great group of people, board members. I see that you guys are growing day in, day out. What you guys do, having night markets, people are coming out there to uh, do Hmong talents, and you guys have inviting vendors to come out and sell food just to make a little ends. Having car shows, I think that's a great start, man. And I know you guys are starting to do bigger, better things too. And I wish you guys nothing but the best. But this organization that you guys have here, it's Fresno, California, correct?
Yep. We're in Fresno, and we just recently acquired a 16-acre property, and so we are going to build that platform for our youth, whether the community wants it or not, because our youth needs it, and we believe in our future, and we've invested. This is $1 million property, and we have to do it because if we don't do it, I'm telling you, no one's going to do it. Our parents' generation couldn't even do this for us. So if we don't do it, our kids will totally be lost. Our culture will be lost. Everything about us will be gone.
Yeah, I feel the same way. A lot of organizations today, and I mean, I don't want to get into too much politics and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but just my opinion. A lot of these organizations, this is my opinion. I truly feel like they do it for themselves.
Yeah.
They do it for themselves. They do it for their own pleasure. They do it for their satisfaction. Yeah, yeah. They having New Year's, people coming out. Traditions, 30 years, 40 years, but I feel like you really have to give back to the community. You have to do something for the community to understand. And if we don't start now, it'll never be started. And what you
Yeah.
guys are doing by purchasing a acre to build your establishment, so you guys can provide for the younger generation, I think that's great, because not many organizations will go out in their way of doing it. And it's not even that, you guys are actually really putting time into it, not just
Hmm.
waiting for a certain event of the year to do it. You guys every day put in the work,
Yeah.
and that's the great thing about you guys. So big props to you guys, man. Keep it up, keep going. um I'm gonna be part of an organization over here too. um Unfortunately, it's a little sad. Our Mohai Hang organization over here has been slowly just kind of going away, and it's not that we're not wanting to be together anymore, but I think everybody's kind of grown out a little bit, having families.
Yeah.
So I get it, I understand. I will always still represent Mohai Hang organization here in the state of Michigan, because everybody known us for hosting events like basketball tournaments, basketball leagues, and we've hosted a few volleyball, flag football, etc. But hopefully one day we can always bring that back. But the organization that I'm going to be a part of, they're also a great organization. They're going in the right direction. They have very, very professional people that's involved in that organization, and I can't wait to be a part of that organization as well, and hopefully give them some of my ideas, and we can go from there too. But yeah, man. Keep it up, man, Johnny. Keep it up. I know you've done great things. Um, you done great things for us here in Michigan, getting flag football started, and now you're doing great things in California. Um, so I wish you guys nothing but the best. Just keep doing what you guys gotta do, man. And
Yeah, thank you, man. Well, we are definitely trying. We definitely feel blessed. We have a lot of guys on the board that we live every day. We do our 9 to 5s, but we commit the after hours to come and build what we have to build because we all know that it takes a lot of money to do what we got to do, and it takes a lot of free time to do what we're doing, and we have to sacrifice. I mean, I sacrifice a lot of time, some of the time with my family, so that I can build this for us because I know that in the future, when in the next 3 to 4 years, when my kids are older, my goal is to have a platform here for them,
oh yeah,
something that they can take advantage of. So they don't have to worry that, oh man, where do I go from here? Oh well, go to Rise. If you don't want to go to school, you don't want to go to college, come do your thing at Rise. Learn who you are, learn what you want to do. If you want to sing, we got a program for that. If you want to learn a guitar, we got a program for that. If you want to play sports, we got a program for that. Whatever it is that we have here, what if we don't have it, we can build it because that's what Rise is all about. We're all about giving you that platform or building it if we can. And like even me, be like right now, I don't work, but I have my own printing business, right, which is S9 Custom Tees. And literally every penny I get from any sales that I make, it literally goes back into our operations of Rise to build this sports program because I believe hugely in the sports aspect as to how it can build anybody from ethics, from code of conducts, from sportsmanships to just building brotherhoods. And like what you mentioned earlier, like you can be people who dislike each other from different groups just because you lived on the different streets, but then you come and play this game and now you're brothers, and
yep,
and that's what we have to build so that the Hmong kid, the youth now doesn't grow up disliking this other kid just because he grew up on a different apartment complex, you know.
yep,
So we have to
yeah,
truly build that platform for them so that, yes, like what you said earlier, the more you see each other, if you're seeing each other 3, 4 times a year, you're going to be friends. Even if you're on the other side of
oh
the
yeah.
field, you're going to become friends because you're going to respect each other and everyone's going to have that mutual respect for each
Oh
other.
yeah. Well, the one thing about that, and I want to touch just a little bit on that. It's one of those things where it's like you never take an opportunity to get to know that one person. You're only
Yep.
judging them because of what you see or what you don't know, right?
Hmm.
Until you actually sit down and talk to these people, and you're like, oh, this guy's actually pretty cool. Oh, he's pretty cool. She's pretty
He's
cool.
just, he's just like me.
Yeah, he's just like me.
That's,
Wait a
yeah.
minute, you like football? Well, I like
Yeah.
football too.
Yeah.
Well, you live in this apartment. I live in this apartment. I always thought that you did this, you did that. Oh, my bad. But
Hmm.
that's a great thing, man, because some of these organizations, and I can't speak much about the community over there because I don't know much about Fresno alone. I don't know how much program they have over there, and we can go on and on about that. But you know, we're a very short time, but just to touch a little bit on it, you know, I don't see much or I don't hear much. We have such a big social platform here, so
Yep.
everybody always shares something about other people's cities and stuff like that, and you don't get that much. You
Hmm.
talk politics, a lot of people who talks
Yeah.
politics, you'll see that on social media,
Yep.
but you don't see about programs for Hmong people. And I could be wrong. I mean, I could truly be wrong, right? But it's not big. So, big ups to you guys, man. Keep doing what you guys do. Um, I wish nothing but the best for you guys because we hopefully our kids will be able to learn from this and build their generation, and they can build their generation and it can keep going on forever. So You guys doing great, man. And I know we don't have much time left, but feel free to give a shout out if you like, man. Um, but I just want to say one more thing before we head off, man. Thank you,
Yeah.
Johnny. Thank you for being a part of our flag football community over here in Michigan. Without you starting it, I don't know how long before we would have even accomplished starting flag football. Um, and we were grateful. So thank you so much. A lot of these teams are, well, a lot of the teams before, we all been blessed to play the game, and I hope that later here in the future we can bring it back up. But for the most part, you're the grandfather of starting in flag football in the state of Michigan. I got nothing but respect for you. So
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. No shout outs, man. I just thank you for having me. Giving me the thank yous already means a lot to me because you're right. Like not a lot of people know how flag football started in Michigan, and for you to, I guess, kind of bring that out to light and just kind of show everyone how it got started. And it wasn't just me; it was you. You have the biggest part because you had to get these OGs to give it to us. And so you played the biggest role in making it happen,
I
TB.
appreciate it,
So
man. Well,
mad
big
respect to
big
you.
shout out to Tony too. Your brother-in-law
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah,
He was a big part of it too. It took it didn't take much, and I was so happy during that time that we had a great organization that was willing to accept us and accept what we wanted to do for the community. So I'm glad they made it easier for all of us. And hey, look, we carried it for so many years now, and
yeah,
still no complaints, no stops, no nothing. So
yeah.
they see the success in it. So again, big thanks to you, man.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, man. I think this is about a wrap for our time, man. I really appreciate it, man. Big shout out to Johnny Lee from Fresno for being a part of my show, man. And hope everybody is doing great. So we are out, guys. Peace.
Peace. Have a good one.